All right, welcome everyone. We are at the top of the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started. I know there's still people filing in, but did want to start this in case it is during your lunchtime and everyone can get back to work soon after this. My name is Phil Anthony. I am with International Code Council as a digital codes solutions specialist. I work with the digital codes premium subscriptions that many of you may be familiar with. We also have our Code Connect API products, and then we integrate as our family of solutions with the other areas of ICC. We do this monthly webinar for Digital Codes Premium, and we like to do a lot of different topics going throughout the year so we can show you how it all integrates with the other resources we have at ICC. So today, we are going to focus on the ICC certifications, and if any of you are familiar with taking the exams in Pronto, we have Margaret with us today, who I will let introduce herself when I pass it over to get started. And the other panelists you may see on there is Dan Janicek, who is our product manager. And we will get started here. I'll make a couple of comments as we're going through this presentation, specifically on the certifications topic, as Margaret's doing. Please post any questions you have in the chat and go ahead and post it to everyone so you can see what questions are being asked. I will be in the backgrounds here answering any questions that you have. I'll post them, excuse me, I will post them right back in the chat if they're about something Digital Codes Premium. If there's something about what Margaret's discussing, go ahead and post those too, and she'll pause every once in a while, and I'll tell her what questions are available there. And of course, at the end, we'll have time for verbal questions if people want to raise their hand, but we'll concentrate on showing this part first, and we will have time at the end. If you got questions specifically on Digital Codes Premium or anything else that Margaret is presenting, we will catch those as well too. So I will remove myself from the camera view and I will turn it over to Margaret, who has control of the screen. Her mic is on. She is ready to go. Do your introduction and start, and I'll make sure everything goes smoothly in the background.
Thank you so much, Phil. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Margaret Okoya, and I am the supervisor in the ICC Credentialing Department. Today, I'm going to discuss how ICC has transformed the candidate experience by integrating technology-based solutions that serve to enhance the overall candidate testing experience. And so I'm going to unshare my video so we can concentrate on the PowerPoint. Okay, so one second. So it started. Okay, so first of all, what is an ICC certification? So a Code Council certification. So obtaining a Code Council certification it prepares you for new challenges in the built environment. So it's a significant personal and professional accomplishment, as you can see here, demonstrating how that ICC certification expands or brings forth career advancement. It brings more adaptability and relevance in the built environment. Our credentials are recognized by building departments and state agencies that regulate administration and enforcement officials. So your ICC certification is proof that you have a confirmed commitment to protect public health, safety, and welfare. And as we said, many jurisdictions throughout the U.S. recognize or require ICC certifications. The credentialing department, we work with subject matter experts, we call them SMEs, to create exams that test a person's knowledge, skills, and abilities to perform a specific job or task. So we definitely work with individuals in the industry who are making sure that the scope of the exam still applies to the current work that's being done today in the built environment. So what did ICC do what kind of technology-based solutions did we incorporate to allow for individuals to obtain that certification, to obtain that certification through our ICC database. So we're going to talk about all of the ways in which ICC has done that. So by ICC, the web pages that we've created, the exam catalog, Pronto and Pronto at Work, of course, digital codes. And then we're going to talk about, since it's technology, sometimes technology and we butt heads. So we definitely are going to talk about some tips and techniques that we definitely recommend in regards to the testing experience, as well as some future enhancements that we've got in the pipeline. Okay, so first of all was my ICC. So my ICC was this what is an informational management tool that allows a candidate to manage their purchases, certifications, courses, membership, digital wallet card, so they can facilitate the management of their relationship with ICC. So I'm sure if you don't already have a My ICC account, please create one. That is your window to allow you to communicate effectively throughout several of ICC's databases internally. So you can see this one, you see it shows my certifications, how many CEUs I have, my courses, any exams that I might have upcoming. The amount of CEUs I have. So it really gives you just a really nice snapshot of everything that you have within that you've made purchases, any upcoming events. It really gives you a nice one-stop shop to be able to visually view what you've got going on and what's upcoming within your in your own personal account. It's also where you register to purchase and buy your exam, right? So my ICC is also where you book your exam, where you launch it and make your exam selection of on demand or in person, as well as access your exam history. So my ICC really houses a lot of information as at your fingertips. And also we have the My ICC app as well. So if you haven't already downloaded the app, please do, because it's connected. It's another resource for you to be able to have this tool at your fingertips. I'll pause right here for any questions so far, Phil.
No one has asked a specific question. I asked a couple things about, using digital codes, premium materials. They asked about, do you need to have a subscription to Digital
Correct.
Codes Premium to take the exam? I explained no, but I know you're going to catch that later. And
Yes.
some people have asked that they can't hear, and other people are saying that they can hear. So double check your volume and turn your speakers up because
Yeah.
everyone else is able to hear.
They're at
Uh,
100 on my end.
go ahead, Margaret.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Phil. So then, so from my ICC, we also created the credentialing web pages. So I know that ICC houses a lot of information about your personal purchases and your personal relationship with ICC, but our credentialing web pages houses so much information. If you go to our web pages, it gives you, access directly to the exam catalog, just maintain and renew your certifications, but also it gives you information about how the credentialing journey, what to do, what the things that to do before, during, and after your exam. We've got videos on our web pages. It also directs you to Pronto at Work or Pronto in general about the professional development committee, our exam development committees. It also redirects you to information about the Master Code Professional, and as well as the Special Inspector Program. So our web pages house a comprehensive overview of everything that you would need to know about almost anything in regards to the credentialing program. And if you have any further questions, we're always available to help as well, to answer any additional questions you might have. Okay, and the next resource that we utilized was the exam catalog. So there used to be exam information bulletins, paper, just lots of mailings going in and out from the department. So technology allowed us to create a comprehensive t- tool to store all of the exam information. So we do have two exam catalogs, right? So this is from the corporate site. So if you go to iccsafe.org, and click the exam catalog. This is the exam catalog view you would see on the corporate site, the My ICC. You would log in, you would go to your credentials, and you would view the exam catalog there. Those are all only exams that ICC currently sells or available to purchase on the My ICC exam catalog. The corporate site lists the expanse of our program to include the contractor trades, the UST exams, as well as any state-specific exams, as well as the ability to print. You can print in the corporate site. You can actually print this information. It comes into a PDF, and there's a little, print function there, and it would allow you to print the information for that exam. So that is another resource available as well. And so you can see here, when you search for an exam, I searched for the M2 here, the commercial mechanical inspector. It gives me what the scope was. So as I said before, the subject matter experts created, what is the scope of a commercial mechanical inspector, and what is expected of that job. So they created that scope. So we provide that information to our candidates to be transparent about what the scope of the job is, the number of questions that are on the exam, the time limit, if it's open book or not, the ability to register if it is available through the ICC storefront, as well as the references for the exams. And then also, to be sure, this is the information that lives on the info tab of the exam catalog. And if you were to click on the outline tab, you would see the content outline. So this is the information that it will be covered on the exam. It gives you exactly, of the 60 questions on this exam, 10% of it will be general administration. So that means roughly 6 questions, right, will be included on this content, will be included on the exam covering general administration. And as you scroll down on these pages, you'll see it keeps continuing. So heating, cooling, water heaters is 24% of the exam. So 60 questions and 24% of that as well. And you just keep scrolling down until you get to all of you get to see what the exam consists of, what you will be tested on. And this is a great tool to use as you're preparing for your exam as well. And of course, the references. So here is also where we include the references for our exams. The exam catalogs list both digital and print. You don't have to buy both versions of the reference. That was the only way that we could denote that a digital reference would be included during the exam. So every exam that is applicable to having digital codes for exam will have this text above it saying that one or more references is available, one or more digital references is available, and here is how to access this. We'll get to this later on in this PowerPoint, but so you see here, we have the digital and the print. You will only need to purchase the print, but the digital will be available to you during the exam administration. And again, so any questions so far over the exam catalog?
Oh, we got a ton of questions that happened here. We might have to circle back to catch them at the end. I just heard
Okay.
you mention something though. You said it was the print was included or mandatory with it when the registration? I'm sorry.
So no, it's not that. Well, these are the references for the exam,
Okay.
right? So we have to have both the digital and the print. So you don't have to buy both versions of the reference. You don't have to both buy the digital version and the print. If you have a copy of the print one, wonderful. but rest assured, during the exam, you would have the digital version available to you because it lists it here.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Does
I
that
had a
answer
quick,
the question?
yeah, and we'll
Yes.
circle back around if you need
Mhm.
more explanation. I have a couple questions about people acquiring access to training programs or exams for like 2018. Now it's not accessible. Is there a time limit, and is that something you're covering later?
We retired the 2018 exams suite the end of last year. So if you have not purchased it before December 31st, we can work with individuals that reach out to us to assist them in taking that exam.
Good. Yeah. Now, short explanation is fine there. They can ask further if need be. And someone stated that if they log in and do not get a dashboard showing information, what does that usually mean if they don't have any data in there?
Make sure they're using the correct the email address that's associated to their if they have certifications. I know sometimes what is it? Microsoft Edge is not user. It does my ICC and Microsoft Edge don't really get along that well. I've found to be so. Sometimes if an individual's information isn't populating, it might be the browser itself.
Okay. And we had a couple questions about in-person training and stuff. I know you're kind of just talking about the exams. Is that something you want to cover later, or is there a source that they should look for that?
Oh, the training department is different than the
Yep.
credentialing department. So,
Okay. I guess they're, yeah, actually like studying for the exams, in-person classes for those, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, I'm not sure if training offers anything like that.
All right. And then finally, I'm not going to skew the presentation too much here, but
Mhm.
someone asked about why can't the test be seen after the person is or after they're taken so they can see what they missed.
That is a little more in depth of an
Okay.
answer. So I will definitely get back to that maybe at
All
the
right.
end or outside of this
All right.
webinar.
No problem at all. I'll save the rest of them for later. Keep going.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay, so now, the other technology-based solution, the biggest one, was to actually transform the candidate testing experience from physical to virtual. So in the summer of 2017, ICC launched Pronto, was initially an acronym for Pronto Remote Online Testing Option. It has since expanded into test centers, but it still utilizes the Pronto program and platform. So that digital transformation, it allowed well, first of all, ICC was the first building safety professional organization to offer remote online testing to our candidates. And while it's still ensuring exam integrity, it also provided candidates more convenience and flexibility in the testing, right? Because the online remote was and still is available 24/7, 365 days a year. So that has continued, like I said, it has since expanded into physical test centers, but it still utilizes the Pronto program and platform. So that technology still exists today. And the evolution of Pronto or the creation of Pronto led to an innovative solution for jurisdictions. So Pronto at Work was an option for employees to have for employers to have their employees complete exams at work. So individual jurisdictions can establish a dedicated workspace or testing area in their office and have a peak testing environment for their candidates to test, to take their jurisdiction specific exams. They can test directly, at work on site. The Pronto at Work program has a dedicated landing page. It lists the IT requirements and so if IT has to make any adjustments to allow for the exam to launch successfully. And Pronto at Work locations also receive news of upcoming system enhancements as well. So so as a result of Pronto, it snowballed into a service that we were able for employers to allow for their employees to test directly at work, and that was a huge benefit to jurisdictions across the country. And so with technology, we definitely wanted to make sure that there was a way for individuals to familiarize themselves with the new platform. So we created Pronto 101 and Pronto at Work or Pronto Pronto 101 and the tutorial exam. But even before having to purchase an actual ICC exam, you can practice using the exam platform and the user interface. So both Pronto 101 and the tutorial, they're the exact same exam, and they walk you through the various functions available to you during the exam administration. So if you haven't already purchased an ICC exam, you can navigate to the storefront. For Pronto 101, it's $0 on the storefront, and it will create your Pronto account. So it will create your Pronto account, and once it's in your My ICC My Exam section, you can then access as if you were taking an actual exam. So that is another resource to familiarize yourself with the technology as it stands currently for testing. So, of course, the next big thing that came about because of ICC and their digital technology solutions and innovation was digital codes for exams. So that was launched in August of 2023, and it seamlessly integrated the digital codes platform into the online testing experience. So I am going to pause here for a second so that I can toggle back to the video so that we can all hopefully watch the video for we have a video for digital codes for exams. So Phil, if I can answer any questions during that time, I'll be happy to.
All right. Yep. No, go ahead and move around whatever you need to on your display. I see Dan is actively answering many questions, and they are coming in fast and furiously. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at the chat as you're putting on the video,
Okay.
and then we'll circle back around. You said you had the video you want to present from your side, right?
Yes, I do.
I see it. I see it going there.
Yep.
And after we're done there, Dan, you
Uh-huh.
had a lot of questions that you're being answered. If you want to come back on at the end of the video first, you can do that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Margaret. Yeah.
This is a video about International Code Council exams, but it's really all about this little dot.
Absolutely. I believe it's a game changer, really.
What does that little dot mean? Digital Codes for Exams is here.
It's taken a lot of kind of nervousness out of me.
I'm a lot faster. I found that I had time at the end of each exam to go back and proof answers.
Oh, and did we mention it doesn't cost anything to use?
Woohoo!
Now that we've got your attention, let's go back to that dot, because it's where you access digital codes during Pronto exams. Just click on it, select Digital Codes for Exams, hard to miss since it's the only thing there, then select the title you want to use. When you open Digital Codes, you'll see a familiar interface, but we did limit some stuff to make the testing process fair and equitable. Premium features aren't available, so you won't have access to things like your notes and bookmarks. Not all titles are currently available for exams, and you'll only have access to pertinent titles while taking your exam. The search function is also limited to the chapter you're currently navigating, but it's still really helpful.
If you're stuck somewhere and you can't find a specific or an obscure word or reference, knowing that there's a Control F function to search for keywords, that's a great place to go to help you find it quicker.
Just like you can still use as many books as you want, you can have as many tabs open as your browser and internet speed will support.
There's tabs that you can click on at the top of the screen, and if you're not careful and close your test out accidentally when you're trying to switch windows, don't ask me how I know that.
I don't think we need to. But if you can manage to keep the tab open, we think you'll like using digital codes for exams.
Try the feature out and see if it's for you. I promise you I was skeptical, and the second that I got the hang of it and was comfortable, it's something I use natively now, and it's a natural thing.
To practice with digital codes for exams, log into your account and visit codes.iccsafe.org/exams. Scroll down to the bottom and select Simulate Exam Experience with Digital Codes.
Yeah, thanks, Margaret. And that video came from, if you've been on our website, actually navigate to it so they see.
Yeah, here it is. Right. I'm logged into my
Yep.
codes, and selected that option there.
Yep, all that information will be on there. Dan, you want to jump in? You've been furiously answering some questions and may have some more insight.
Yeah, there's been some great questions from all the attendees, so thank you for that. Just kind of extrapolating that the digital codes for exams does provide the full context of these reference titles. The user is going to have access to this during the exam. It'll open in a new tab, as they had alluded to in the video, so the user will be able to traverse back and forth. And for those that are more familiar with native reference materials, such as the print books, those are still allowed. So this digital codes is a service that is available, but is not required. So it really does empower the user. For those that are not as familiar with digital codes or a little bit concerned on learning this on the fly during the exam, that's where the simulation is encouraged. Not only does everybody who registers an account have access to the sample exam, but once a user registers for your exam voucher, you're also going to see the ability to simulate your specific exam ahead of time. So you can see what titles are going to be available and get familiar with traversing the content before that finite period of time inside of Pronto begins.
Yeah, I see questions about number of times you can do simulated testing. Can you use second monitor to open codes in your exams?
No, we are not at second monitors as of yet. So it's just the 2 tabs at the moment, but it is something we are looking into for sure. And that would only be available for online testing, remote online testing, and not at the test centers. The multiple monitors function in the if and when that happens in the future.
All right, and then looked like you had a chance to scan through any of the questions there. I don't know if you want to expand on anything, or do you got more of a presentation to keep going through?
A little bit more of a presentation to get through, and then we can definitely answer all those questions.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
All right. So that was the digital codes for exam video. And so like we said in the video, within your exam, this little blue icon, if and when you click it and it tells you there's digital codes for exams, click that, it will open up the tab and it will show you the reference titles available to you just as it did in the simulation. And like we said, it does not require a digital codes premium subscription, but like Dan said, please use it to familiarize yourself and leverage that usage during your exam, the finite time that you will have during your Pronto exam. And of course, with technology, as we all know, one second. So I know we went into the simulation when Dan was talking. So this was also the screen to reference how to access digital codes on the digital codes website, and then the opportunity to simulate your exam. I don't think there's a limit to how often you can do this, but that is, I don't believe so. Dan, correct me if I'm wrong.
Nope, confirming there is no
Okay.
limit. The sample exam is unlimited, as is your actual exam once it appears here when the voucher is purchased, up until the time you actually initiate the Pronto experience. So once you go
Yes.
into Pronto, that's when it will be removed from the listing here on the DC for Exams page.
Thank you. Okay, well, as we all know with technology, yes, when it's your friend, it's your best friend, but sometimes it, causes just a headache or two. So I'm just going to go over a couple of techniques, tips that we can definitely verify will help guarantee a seamless exam testing experience. So first up is to make sure that you're using Guardian Browser. So Guardian Browser is the proprietary feature of Measure Learnings, who is our overall ProctorU exam vendor. And so that is their secure internet browser. So you can use it just like you can use it like Chrome, you can use it like, Firefox. So when you're getting ready to take your ICC exam, go ahead and download or upload or refresh your Guardian browser and use that to just log directly into your MyICC account when you're ready to take your exam. So that guarantees that you're not going to have to switch from one browser to the next if you're already in the browser that you need to be in. And so that will definitely help with any hiccups that might occur along the way. And also utilize the tested out function before you test to ensure your computer is meeting the necessary requirements. Is your CPU usage high? Or do you have a webcam? Do you have a microphone, a functional microphone? All of those things are required before being able to successfully connect with the proctor. I will say if you are using a work issued computer, you will need to check with your IT team to confirm your ability to independently download and install programs. So that is crucial to that because, you know, some IT departments do not allow an individual to make such additions to the computer. So that can definitely cause some issues. So be cognizant of that being a possible issue as you're getting ready to connect or take a online remote proctored exam. And also, of course, you know, if you were to become disconnected during your online remote proctored exam, there is the opportunity to get back in there. You know, if it's one thing if the power went out, you know, if the whole entire building, the power went out, obviously pick up your phone and call Proctor U. But if it is available to you and it's just something happened, you disconnected from the proctor, you can still use the chat function to try to reconnect. And you can also log back into your MyICC using the Guardian browser, go back, navigate back to your My Exams, go to your Pronto dashboard, and there you would be able have the option to resume the exam. So don't, you know, if you disconnect, do your best to try to get back in there because there is a very short window in which the proctor will even allow for that exam to still be to still exist before they automatically submit it on their end because the candidate did not come back to that exam session. And then also within digital codes for exams, like we've mentioned, you know, make sure you visited the exam catalog to determine if that digital reference will be available during the exam administration. We said that red text will definitely give you an idea of, hey, if it says digital and print, then that digital reference will be available to you during the exam. And then, of course, you can simulate the functions, you know, DC for exams utility during your exam, but the search function itself it's isolated to searching within that chapter. And your search function, that if you're searching within that chapter, it's also including the table of contents. So it's also pulling information, just keywords, single words. It has to be spelled the exact same way. It's not searching for phrases. So, so that's definitely utilize the simulation to practice and see what it does not do during the exam. Because there's no highlighting, like I said, there's none of the premium features. It's a general access version because we had to make sure that everyone was on an even playing field with the addition of this tool within the exam experience. And also, as we talked about, future enhancements. So I know somebody already brought this up, but we are working on multiple monitors. So it will be a function in which you will be able to, it'll be a feature in the future where you will have the exam on one screen and your digital codes link that you access during the exam on the second screen. So that is something we hear you, and we are working on hopefully a solution to that in the coming months, years. And also we're looking at streamlining that exam launch process because right now it's that, you know, there are 2 timers right now. So you launch it, you book it, you launch it, and then you wait for the timer to expire and then you get to launch the exam. We want it to be just one button, one seamless transition to booking, to launching, and you're getting ready to connect with the proctor. So that is definitely that is another future enhancement that we're looking towards making available to our candidates, as well as adding additional digital reference titles. Because like we said in the video, not all digital titles are currently available. So we are actively working on making more digital reference titles available on the Digital Codes platform. And we always welcome candidate questions, feedback, suggestions. Like we said, we're always listening, and anything we can do to further enhance testing experience, if it's if we're able to make those changes, we will consider them, and even if we're not, we will consider them. But some things are doable and some things aren't. But that is definitely we're always looking for ways to better that candidate experience. And that's just some of the ways in which ICC has leveraged technology to enhance that process. And that's the last slide over here. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Margaret, a couple of questions have come in
Mhm.
through the chat that I think might be good ones for you to speak to.
Or
Couple of questions around the allowable formats with hard copy books and tabbing. Can you speak to what is or is not allowed, both current state and as we look to the future?
so tabbing, so long as it's tabbed to a point that if you were to remove the tab, it would rip the page. That is allowed. It's not that, does that answer the question? It's just we allow tabbing. We don't allow currently writing, during the exam. You cannot actively be taking notes or writing. But if you've tabbed and highlighted previously, that is acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Another question around the resources to prepare for exams. There was a mention of the flashcards, whether or not there's going to additional resources are available to expand beyond the contents that are in the current flashcard offering. And then along those same lines, a question about when the 2024 flashcards and similar resource materials are expected to be available.
I can't speak to that because that's
Okay.
training. So yeah, that would be a training related question. But I know that I would imagine that is being actively worked on.
Actively developed. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So stay tuned for that one.
Mhm.
And then as far as the 21 and earlier flashcards, for those that have maybe used those extensively, are there other resources that you're aware of that would be good training opportunity materials?
I would, so I will say that we do, for just to help be more transparent about how our exams are developed and what all information is available, what you will be tested on during the exam. So that was, the expanded content outline, like I showed on the exam catalog. That is a really, really, really wonderful resource to utilize to know exactly, like I said, you can tab the major content areas and then the information within there to kind of guide you along to see what areas in the book will be covered during the exam.
All right,
All right.
excellent. Thank you.
Meredith, there's been a lot of questions here that I know people are going to have to follow up with your department,
Mhm,
perhaps.
mhm, mhm.
Before the webinar ends here, if you can either pull up a slide or post it in chat, maybe contact information. People are like, which exams are remote, which ones can I do, or have to go to a testing center and things like that. Anything that might have been discussed here, what number should they follow up? Just go ahead and post that in the chat,
Okay,
phone
I'll
number
do
or
that.
email. And then, yeah, that's had quite a few questions come in. I know some of you were texting me directly or Dan directly. So what I guess we'll do, if we miss something here, we'll open it up to, if you want to raise your hand, we'll unmute you to, allow verbal questions to be asked, or continue to post in the chat here.
And this webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent out to everybody who had registered after it concludes. So you will have access to all of these topics and questions after the fact as well.
Saw a question, if someone registered for 218, do they still take 218, or does it have to be 21 now?
So if it was purchased before December 31st, the exam is the 2018. So once they access it, that will be the exam that is being launched. And online remote testing is on demand only, so it is not available to be scheduled. It is testing when you're on demand. So today would be if you wanted to test today, you could test at some point today, but if you want to test tomorrow, you'd have to check tomorrow for that availability.
And you want to have the book for the cycle, the same cycle that you're taking the exam for.
Yes, ideally. Should know that number by now.
Don't, oh yeah, okay, yeah, posted there for general questions. Both
Mhm.
you can, reach customer success, knows a little bit about all of our products. If they need to connect you with someone else, they'll direct you the correct way. And I do
Mhm.
post my email address. That's Phil Anthony. If you got questions about digital codes, premium subscriptions, send me an email. I'll be glad to answer that. And then just once again to clarify, we're saying digital codes kind of twice here. We're talking about digital codes for Pronto exams, which is just like the basic version of being able to view those while you're taking the exam. And then when we use the word digital codes premium, that's the subscription service that you have for all the other contents we were talking about. I mentioned in the chat with the flashcards, study companions. People find the commentaries to be really helpful as well too. If you're in a jurisdiction using the code information all the time, go ahead and get a year or 3 year subscription because it costs less. But we have made suggestions if you just need those study materials like the flashcards or study companions, there is a monthly option. So you could just do that and access it for the time that you're studying for the exam. Do not see anyone having raised their hands yet. Are you looking through this too, Margaret? Any ADA or anything else there? Go ahead and take those.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If anyone needs ADA accommodations, we do have a form that just you need to complete, and our client relationship manager will review it and update the individual's account, their Pronto account, and it's effective for 3 years once it's issued. That accommodation is issued, and it will be available for 3 years during any Pronto exam administration.
I see there was a follow-up question on the materials for the cycle that they purchase and the cycle of their exam they're sitting. So, as Margaret's saying, I think I understand that correctly. If you have signed up for the 2018 exam before the end of last year, right? Then
Hmm.
you're still registered for 18. You can still use the 18 book in your exam, right?
Yes, and also, yes, and then also, if you do need the 2018 content outline, we can provide it. I don't think there is very much change between the 18 and 21, but the content outline especially specifically. So, but if an individual is taking the 18 and needs the 18 content outline, we can provide that.
Any best practices or limitations on scheduling the exam with a Pronto proctor?
So for you
Like
can
how far in advance, or any limitations or unavailability windows specifically?
so for in person, it depends on the test center's schedule. So once an exam is purchased, um, you still purchase a Pronto exam on the storefront. It is when you go to book your exam that you have the option to select in person or remote. So if you select remote, it would give you today, it would give you certain times for today. If you select in person, you select it, it then asks you for a zip code, and then it would give you certain test centers that were available, and then it would give you those available dates and times, and it would only be for yes, you could schedule out 6 months in advance, so long as they had their availability, you know out 6 months in advance. Does that answer the question?
If not, they'll follow up again with
Yeah.
it. Going
Okay.
back to
Yeah.
that one.
So basically, you can only so in person you can schedule out as so long as the test center has their schedule up to date. So if they've got dates through March, then you can schedule out through March. But if you're looking to test sooner, then you can always do remote online 24/7.
And then there was a follow-up when I interrupted when you were showing that $110 fee for the materials. Someone was asking, what is mandatory? What's the mandatory fee you're taking when you take the exam, and is that 110 fee always applied?
110.
I think you were showing the print book on the
I believe the 110 was referring to the Digital Codes premium subscription cost, Margaret.
Oh, gotcha. So that's what that was. Gotcha. So it is that you only have to purchase the one. So the digital reference is 110, but the print reference is the other, another price. So I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think it was just misleading from the screenshot. It showed the print reference and the digital reference. And so the audience is asking, is there a requirement to spend additional money beyond the
No.
voucher cost?
No. No. Once you purchase the exam, and so that's what so if your reference listing one, it has the red text stating that one or more digital references listed below is available, and then you have these are the references. Here's the IRC digital. Here's the IRC print. So if you have access to the IRC print outside of having to purchase it, you can use that on test day, as well as the digital reference within the exam. You can use both. One that you bring in and one that's going to be available to you, that's integrated into the exam.
Got it. Yeah. So there is no required spend on digital references. Those will be included with the voucher fee.
Yes. Yes, they are included at no additional cost. Mhm.
Now, to clarify something Phil had said earlier, Digital Codes Premium is separate from the DC for Exams references. So when we talk about having a premium subscription, that includes additional features or additional content. Those will not be available during the exam. So as an exam taker, you are welcome and encouraged to take advantage of that as a preparation tool, but it will not be something that you can leverage during the exam itself.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for the
Yep.
clarification on that. Someone's asking about the subscription. So when we say subscription, we are talking about the subscription to Digital Codes Premium, which is separate than what you accessing on the exam. Somebody had questions about what available practice exams. I think that came to me privately. I don't know if you discussed that.
So we've got some sample exams. The Pronto 101 does at the end of it includes just not even just, hey, this is how the questions will appear to you during a Pronto exam administration. They're obviously not valid questions, but that's just more to familiarize yourself with how to utilize the exam, the user interface of the exam itself.
No, that totally makes sense. If people did want to do practice exams, are there any resources for that or no?
I believe training has practice exams.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you that training? If you got questions, like she had mentioned there, that you can that number posted for customer success can lead you to the right point as well too. And I do believe we have a raised hand question. Unmute, and that goes to Andrew. See if we can hear you.
Guardian browser is the only one that can be used during the exam. But I personally have run into a lot of issues with Guardian browser. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Even be testing, I'll test the system requirements before entering the exam. But sometimes once I get an exam, it freezes up. and I've had the Pronto IT allow me to use Chrome, and it worked flawlessly. Is there any chance that they're going to work on that Guardian browser, or allow Chrome to be used?
So that they are Guardian browser is their proctored online testing browser. I know that sometimes, yes, Guardian can hiccup during the exam administrations, and the proctor themselves is able to, switch you over to Chrome. That is, systematic on their end. But from our standpoint, all of our exams need to be started in Guardian to allow for it to successfully initially connect with the proctor. Now, if the proctor makes the decision to make, within the exam administration to switch it over, then that is their prerogative to do that. But as far as our understanding is that we have to start via Guardian, and they are always working to improve the Guardian browser.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I just like, I mean, it's not just me. Like, basically everyone I work with, none of us can stand Guardian browser because and actually some people have started going scheduling for testing centers, because for some reason in the testing center it'll work 100% better than when they do it at home.
Mm.
And I like, I mean, I wasn't sure if they're I mean, are they taking, is Pronto taking feedback, about the hiccups, and working, making an effort to fix that, or
Yes.
consider just using Chrome, that seems to work for everyone no matter what.
Right. Yeah, I think I do definitely provide feedback to our account manager regularly, to let her, to be made aware of any issues or feedback that we've received regarding the usage of Guardian. But yes, I do know that it's being worked on. My understanding was that they had to create Guardian because Chrome extensions were no longer being something to do with Chrome extensions, and that is what was the result, being Guardian, them creating their own browser, secure browser for online remote proctoring. So I'll definitely continue to provide feedback of the instances of people having connectivity issues with Guardian. But yes, I do know that it is also being pushed out in the test centers as well. So yes, I will definitely let them know that we have received additional feedback regarding its usage at home or otherwise, besides at the test centers.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Got about 5 minutes left here for any last questions, raising the hand. I'm just going through back a couple here. Someone that didn't pass an 18 exam, so now they got to take it again, and you'll always have to buy the book for the exam you're registered for next. You're not recommending using previous cycles, even though there's not much changes sometimes.
Yes, I mean, sometimes people, yeah, s- just check the content outline, see what you're going to be tested on, and see if that 18 code cycle book will suffice to take into the 21. And like I said, I don't think very many changes happened between 18 and 21, but if you do need the 18 content outline, we can provide it.
It's like someone else posted about being able to view questions that were missed after the exam is done. I'm not familiar.
Yes. So yes, exam items are ICC's
Yep.
intellectual property. So once those exam items are created, that they are ours, and so they are only available to be viewable during the exam administration. The diagnostic report is what is used to the diagnostic, along with the content outline, will give you a better idea of the content areas that will need to be reviewed before attempting to take another another exam.
No, no, totally familiar with that. I know
Mhm.
other exams do that as well too. So you'll
Mhm.
see the areas in which you miss questions, but you won't see those actual questions because those can't be released to the public because it's an exam question.
So once someone reaches the scaled score of 75, they have met the threshold of the correct amount, the number of items and they needed to answer correctly in order to pass the exam. So our, it's you pass it and you achieve the scaled score of 75, or you didn't pass it and you're provided a diagnostic of the areas that need to be reviewed. So,
I got a private message here. Someone didn't do it to the group, but they're asking about paying for the exams before the day of requesting to take the exam.
so you can pay for the exam. The exams are available 365 days from the date of purchase.
And so you've got to purchase it first, and then you would be eligible to request to take the exam on demand on the day you want, correct?
Correct. Yes. hmm So exams are 75 scaled. So it's not a percentage. So scaled score is different than a percentage. So a scaled score of 75 is that you answered enough questions correctly to meet that scaled score of 75. So that is not the same as a percentage. I know that can be confusing, but that it's not the same. So you don't get 75%. 75 scaled is not the same as 75% scoring wise. I'm not sure how many questions there are. We definitely have, no, I definitely can't give you that information, Bill. So you would definitely, that's what the exam catalog would be for in the expanded content outline. So if there are 80 questions, that you would use that expanded content outline to see 10% of that, 10% is over this. So that's 8 questions that will be, covered on the exam. So that is how you can not guess, but just kind of have a better math calculation of how many items per content area will be on the exam.
So for that scaled score, and just for my own information too,
Mhm.
is it are different questions weighted differently, or some
No,
practice questions that
no,
aren't counted? Okay,
no,
got
just so basically 80 questions, every every item is worth 1 point. So your goal is to get 80 of them correct, right? But at some point, so each item has an individual score, like this item is 90, this item is all of that. So each we standardize, and it's all the exam development committee could probably explain this a little bit more. So I don't know that I want to get too far into this topic on this, especially about scaled score. So maybe that's a topic we can have for a later day, a scaled score conversation as well, to better explain that to people.
Yeah, no, there's many professional exams that do that in the same way.
Yes.
It's not necessarily scaled by, percentage of the number of questions. It depends on how the question was whatever, expand or detailed within the exam. So not a direct correlation for percentage right to the actual scaled score, the passing of 75.
Correct.
So on that last question, your your score is based upon the number of correct answers, but it's not going to be a direct correlation of percentage. Yes.
hmm
All right, I believe we have come. We've made it to a minute of the top of the hour. I know everyone else got to get back to their day as well too. I'll see if anyone answer or raises their hand in the last 30 seconds, but we are wrapping up here. I do, like I said, if you have questions, we posted our emails there to get further information. And, feel free to check that webinar page on Digital Codes Premium to see the topics that are coming up in the next month as well, too. Any closing comments, Margaret, before I close up?
No, thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate the time. And yes, please, if you have questions, come to us. We're always happy to help.
All right, excellent. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you, Dan, for participating and answering the questions as well, too. I will end the meeting here. Actually, I'll stay on a little bit if anyone has specific questions on Digital Codes Premium. But once again, thank you for attending and have a great week. Take care.
Bye, everyone.